Good evening, Cleveland, America. Anybody from anywhere that's paying any attention to us this evening, we don't care where the signal coming from.
Right.
Welcome. We thank you guys for being here. Welcome to our Sunday. Usually it's called our Football Sunday edition. Today I'm gonna call it our Foosball edition. I'm one of your hosts, Ron Pierce, better known as RP.
And I'm your other host, Big Sean. How's everybody doing this evening?
Well, I think
already know you pissed off.
I think in general, everybody else is doing better than anybody here in Cleveland or anybody that claims to be a Browns fan, should I say. I'm disappointed more so than angry, and it's a difference. There is a difference. I'm just disappointed in the product that was put out today, because one of the things that one of my biggest arguments over the course of being a Browns fan isn't always that we lose, it's how we lose and what we look like in the losses. And they look to be as frank as possible. They look like absolute trash today, from start to finish. There were parts of the game that looked a little better than others, and there were parts of the team that looked
not much,
others, but it wasn't
much at all. It was
not a whole lot. It was not a whole lot that came out. I tell you what, if anything came out smelling like roses, I just want to remind everybody that roses really smell like boo-boo. Okay.
Yeah, there was nothing.
Go ahead.
Nothing good about today's game. Final score was 38-7. This is 17 straight losses at Heinz Field. The last time the Browns won was in 2003 with Tim Couch as our quarterback, of all things. So once again, we have, for those of you who don't know, back in the 70s through the mid 80s, once they opened up Three River Stadium, we had what we called the Three Rivers Jinx, when we could not beat Pittsburgh on the road. So from 1970 until 1986, we could not beat them on the road, and we seem to be in that stage once again. So from beginning to end, it was ugly. And now I'm gonna say this real quick, and then we'll go ahead and get into the game. I predicted the Browns to lose, but what confirmed it for me, when Kevin Stefanski was doing like his midweek conference call, and someone asked him, is there any special meaning to this game, being a rivalry game? And he just said, no, it's just another game on the schedule, and we're trying to go 1-0 this week. Right there, I knew that we were going to lose, because
another guy that don't get it.
Just a regular game, and he doesn't. Hopefully, he gets it now. Okay, he's been in Minnesota up there forever. I know their rivalry is who? What, Minnesota?
Bears.
Yeah, the Bears,
kind of. The Green Bay.
Right, and maybe he doesn't really understand the dynamics of Cleveland and the Pittsburgh rivalry. Hopefully, he does now.
Well, listen,
because you can't convey to your team, especially it's a divisional game anyway, that it's just another game. And that right there, I knew that we weren't going to come out with any type
of. If I had heard that, I would absolutely agree with that assessment, because had I heard that, I would have been pissed. Like, it's 3 to 4 days later, and I'm pissed that he would actually say that, because I'm perplexed. Because to me, you don't need an explanation as to why a division game means something. It's a division game. Even if we don't get the whole backstory of the teams themselves, it's a division game. It's not a regular game. Dummy, do you realize that in order for you to get to the playoffs, you gotta win your division? Like, that's a signed, sealed, and delivered envelope guaranteeing your way into the playoffs.
Right.
So to say, oh, it's just another game. No, the hell it's not. It can't ever be a regular game when it's a divisional game, and when it's a team that's kicked the shit out of you 16 times straight. Like that, as you can tell, I wasn't irritated before. That irritates me. That completely irritates me. Like,
Man, that
again,
it
how
kind of
can you
reminds
not
me,
know this?
right? Kind of reminds me like when John Cooper was at Ohio State and he never said the Michigan
Absolutely.
game was any different than any other game.
Absolutely
Um,
what it seemed like.
and we consistently lost to them when he was head coach.
Got our asses
But
handed to us and had some better rosters when he was here. But
exactly. Like a matter of fact, Ohio State had way better talent back then than they do even like now, like on these
probably
teams,
so.
you know.
But let's as you guys can tell, it's gonna be one of those. This is actually our first show um, during the season in which the Browns have lost a game. So I think this is like I've been waiting for like that after the game feeling that that Sean and I kind of have, and that we can maybe even convey to you guys. And as Browns fans who might be listening, I hope some of this touches on some of the concerns that you guys have. I always feel that it might, but we'll see. We'll find out. So we'll move right into the game stuff that we talked about, the pregame stuff that we talked about on our Wednesday show, on the midweek show. Browns versus Steelers coming into the game. Sean, what were some of your pregame notions, and did you see any of those correlations in the game?
My just main concerns was protecting Baker Mayfield, from that defense, from that front seven. I knew they were gonna bring some intensity and bring the house and pretty much try to take away our running game and force Baker Mayfield to put the game on his shoulders. That was really the main thing that I was kind of keying on. And the offensive line played absolutely terrible. But I want to put some of that like on the coaching too, because my thing is, if you know that they're going to be bringing a house like that, you got to do something to back them off with screen passes. Now we did run some screen passes, but they were all to the tight end.
Every last one.
We didn't match their intensity at all. They were playing at a different speed. At least I will say this: they were playing at a different speed on defense. Offensively, Pittsburgh really looked kind of pedestrian. But on the flip side, but their defense was really bringing the heat, and the Baker Mayfield was uncomfortable pretty much the whole game.
Now,
Couldn't get any type of rhythm, and I think, and I will say this: we've been praising Stefanski pretty much all season, but I think this was his first really bad. Not count. We can discount the Baltimore game because of circumstances in the off season, but as far as every other game, this was his worst game that he's called as offensive coordinator, and then he was just flat out coached today. I think it's just as simple as that, and hopefully you learn from it.
agreed.
He is a rookie coach, so
Agreed.
he has to learn some things, just like young players have to learn things. It's a tough business in the NFL.
All right. Well, I spoke on the offensive line as well because I knew that these guys bring heat week after week after week, play down after down after down, series after series. These guys just bring heat. They're always blitzing 5 to 7. And I mean, we could probably go all the way back to the 80s. Am I correct?
Right.
Where that's kind of been their moniker. That's kind of what they've done. Nothing super exotic, but they do some exotic, give you some exotic looks.
Yeah, they mix it up. They don't really sometimes won't show you the same thing twice.
They try not to show you the same thing twice. And you alluded to this, you actually pointed it out in specifics the other day, that Tomlin would go out of his way to ensure that what we do well, we wouldn't be able to do well, which would present another wrinkle in terms of how we played the game. So it would, put us at a weakness as opposed to allowing us to play into our strengths. And he definitely did that with what they were doing defensively. They were all over the place. The O-line looked as confused at times, not the whole game, but the O-line looked as confused at times as Baker did. So I've absolutely praised the O-line every week of this season, pretty much. Today, I probably wouldn't praise them. I don't think they did an awful job. I just don't think
disagree.
that. I don't think they did. I don't think they did their normal great job, and I think that some of the stuff that'll fall on them came from other aspects that made.
Lost your audio, Ron.
The run game. I didn't think we'd be able to just run. But I did expect us to run, 3.5 to 3.8 ish to help us out, and we had some pretty decent runs, some solid runs. I think getting behind so early, it kind of eliminated any effectiveness that the run game might have been.
Right. And I don't think the run game was going to be effective today
I
at all.
wasn't expecting it. I expected a lot of what we saw last week, just some, 3-4 yards here, maybe just getting to the line of scrimmage there. I wasn't expecting it. However, I needed or wanted to see if we could at least hold them at bay. And I think we might have been able to had we not gone down. So
yeah, and nobody still has blocked Bud Dupree yet.
I mean,
He's still sacking Baker Mayfield and disrupting the plays.
he's still running into the backfield, untouched. Wills didn't do an awful job, but I think he was confused by the scheme. That's what I mean. I think that the offensive line was just confused. And I saw some stuff, and I'll get into that a little bit later. Also, one of my pregame things was the defensive backs versus Ben and Claypool and
yeah, I forgot to touch on that too.
And those guys, and I thought that would be a problem because I think Claypool is a problem, and to be up against our cornerbacks who aren't that great to begin with, and then our safeties are. I don't even know that there's a word to describe our safety play. That's awful enough.
You don't have an adjective to describe it.
I don't know that there's one that effectively describes what we see from week to week. And the few decent ones that we have, Carl Joseph is one of them, was out. So now you got Zendejo and people that they thought didn't belong on the roster after they added Zendejo.
Exactly.
And listen, Andrew Zendejo could possibly be the worst football player that has a Browns uniform. He could possibly be that. He is absolutely being scorched. He's almost always out of place. He's almost always
a step behind.
Yeah, it's becoming like a running joke almost for what he does.
Yeah, you're waiting for it. At least once or twice a game, he's going to get beat deep or be a step late over the top.
And I remember last week too, I mentioned like Terrence Mitchell and some of these guys, Sheldrick Redwine. Redwine looked like Sheldrick Redwine today. He looked just like himself. He was not,
though?
He was not the guy from a week ago. He looked just like himself. But again, I think that they're all in positions and they're all in spots that don't always bring their strengths out. And a lot of that is because of injury. Right. But I knew going into this game that they could be a problem, and they were trash. I know trash gets thrown around often. These dudes were trash today. I put on one of my friends' Facebook page. She said the defense sucked, blah, 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 blah. I said, hey, anything behind the defensive line.
You lost your audio again. All right, it's back. Yeah, for some reason It's muting you automatically.
It's just muted. Okay.
Yeah.
I was trying to do it without the mic. Maybe I need the mic.
That's all
trying
good.
to do it without the mic in my face, should I say?
Right. Technical difficulties are all part of the podcast and radio broadcast world. Things happen.
All right. So
all good.
Anyway, can you hear me now?
Yeah, you're fine.
I bet. So I pretty much forgot what the hell I was saying.
You were talking about how bad the defense is.
Oh, listen, man. I said anything behind the defensive line, the front four, it's trash. Like, it's trash.
Right.
I don't know that a linebacker made a play today, and I damn sure don't think none of the Denzel Ward might have made a play in the defensive backfield. I think
Denzel Ward really didn't get beat too much today. It was two breakdowns really on defense. Yeah, it was a breakdown when I can't remember his name. Was it Nate Washington? Is his name? He got that long touchdown pass where Kevin Johnson and one of the safeties, I don't think it was Zendejo. I can't remember which one it was, but they had a mix-up on who was supposed to take him deep. He got deep on that one, and then another play where Claypool beat, Terrence Mitchell, and that was just pretty much his Claypool size. But other than that,
listen,
they didn't really.
That was a great throw. That was a great throw, like a great throw. That pass to Claypool down the sideline.
He pretty much put it only where Claypool could catch that pass.
And that dude being it's impossible to defend that.
I'm gonna give the defense a little bit of a break today.
I'm not.
They actually kept us around.
Well,
and the offense just didn't do anything to capitalize off of it. And when you're on the field that long, eventually you're going to get worn down.
Well, that's what I said, or that's what I meant when I said earlier that there were certain parts of the team that were good in spots. I mean, like the defense.
I got you.
The defense could potentially keep us in this because the offense stunk. I was hoping to get like a pick six or a strip sack or something that could make us feel like, oh, okay, we can come back and we can, make a game of this thing, et cetera, et cetera. I just didn't see it. Also, my last point before I get too far to the left was Baker.
Baker. Yeah. That's the elephant in the room. Let's go ahead and get into it. Let's get into the meat and potatoes of this.
All three of us, and by the three of us, I mean, if you guys watch the show or listen to the show, on Wednesday, we had a guest in the building, Mark Stover. He's a Steeler fan, and we all spoke about the potential that this game might fall on Baker Mayfield needing to and having to make a play. That did not happen today.
Not at all.
Baker Mayfield is, I don't want to pull a Denny Green, but I'm very close to pulling a Denny. He is exactly who the hell we thought he was. I mean, yeah, we won 4 games and he looked decent in those 4 games, but he didn't look great. He didn't do anything really in any of those games, short of just not turning the ball over. Now, if you recall last week's game, I was a little bit perturbed with him in those 2 interceptions that he threw. You kind of gave him a pass. I saw the exact same thing today. Just throw the freaking ball away, man. Stop trying to force a play when there's nothing there. Listen, that second interception he threw, it was 4 dudes around the man. What are you doing? Just throw it away, idiot. Stop trying to. He's always trying to like force a play and make a play and become this. It's only like 2 or 3 guys that's ever been great that just forces a play to happen. Brett Favre always comes to the forefront of my mind.
Right.
But
Brett Favre, John Elway.
Right.
Those types.
But you know what that means though, right? If that's what you're gonna do, if you're gonna force a play, you gotta make plays all the time.
Exactly.
So that interception or that dumb play that you just made, you can make up for it. You cannot throw. What was this stupid stat line today? Yeah, his stat line was stupid today. Where is it at? 10 for 18, 119 yards, 1 touchdown, and 2 interceptions. No, you cannot be that guy with those numbers and throw 2 picks, one of them pick 6. That's his
Yeah,
second.
matter of fact, the pick six came on the first possession that we had. And once that happened,
It was over.
I knew that it was over at that point in time. I said, "There's no, because we can't turn the ball over." That's every time we go and lose to Pittsburgh is normally because of turnovers. That's always the number one factor in our losses.
And I mean, to do it on our first offensive drive. So now we're down 10-7, or excuse me, 10-0.
We're down 10-0.
And we don't.
We're down 10-0
really,
quickly.
and really the defense didn't do any. The defense actually stopped them because they could have scored a touchdown on that field goal that they ended up kicking
on the first drive.
And they did the bend but don't break type of thing. And hey, they walk off the field feeling a little bit vindicated, right? Things are a little bit even. Let's see what we do. You don't even flip the field. You don't even take it past the 50. You throw the dump. It's another stupid pass. Another idiot pass. There was 3 people in the vicinity. One of them happened to be Minka. The other 2 were your guys, which means that it was a miscommunication. So you don't throw it there.
And even when you watch the replay, it wasn't even really so much him not seeing Minka. He threw it behind Hooper. Like with the way Hooper was running, if he would have put the ball out and led the receiver, he might have actually completed the pass, but he threw it behind them.
He might have.
And Fitzpatrick jumped the route and got the pick 6. But the one thing that concerns me the most right now is that Baker was playing scared, playing tentative. That's the red flag that's really bothering me, because now he's playing. I don't know what's going on. I think he's. Let me back up here, because he's playing not to make a mistake, which you cannot play. And I truly believe now that I had a little time to sit there and analyze this, Baker is not being himself. He's not being himself just as a person, because he got criticized so much for being outspoken, for being kind of brash. And I think he was told to tone it down, especially after last season. He got humbled, had to tone it down a little bit. He's not being himself. If you a jerk or being brash, and that's how you perform better, that's how you perform best, by being yourself, then you have to be yourself and can't worry about what anybody else thinks about it. Because when he first got here, that's how he played. He played with the swagger. Like, I don't care. It's about what anybody else thinks about me and my teammates. It's about me and the Cleveland Browns. Period. Now he's all kind of meek and not really being outspoken like he was, and that's how he's playing right now. He's not being himself. Well, I think that's what's hurting him right now.
Here's the issue, and it might be, maybe it is, but I'm gonna be honest with you. So what? Can you throw a damn football? Then throw the damn football. Can you be accurate? Then just be damn accurate. Who cares if you're not the brash guy off the field or whatever? Talk your shit on the field without a microphone in your face.
Right. No, what I'm saying is he's not even doing that.
That's what I mean. Like yeah. Don't. I don't believe that the thing that's holding him back is that he has to. Oh, I have to be chill, because OBJ ain't always being chill. Again, it becomes one of those things where certain people have to be chilled and certain people don't. If he were winning, being chill wouldn't be no big issue. I mean, being loud or brash wouldn't be no big issue. We talked about it in one of the past shows where TB12 can cuss out the offensive coordinators and Bill Belichick and any and everybody else he wants to if he feels like it. But
Right.
he has 6 titles. Again, you can't be humble and then go back to being an a-hole.
Right. And I don't mean, and let me just kind of clarify that. When I say, being, I don't necessarily mean being just a flat out asshole to your opponents, to your teammates, and being disrespectful. But the way that he was playing before, he was kind of like more of an in your face, not afraid to speak your mind. I'm a gunslinger. Remember, he said Brett Favre was like his favorite quarterback growing up, how he patterned his game. And now you see the tentativeness, like he's double clutching on throws. He's scared to let
I think the tentativeness is not coming from, I don't agree with that. I don't think that the tentativeness is coming from him not being himself. I think the tentativeness is coming from, this ain't freaking Oklahoma. And people know what you like to do. Like today. Credit to the Steelers defense. They knew he wanted to roll out. That's what he does best. So they just kept sending edge rushers. You know what else they did? They kept pressure up the middle. You know why? Because this idiot never steps up in the pocket. He don't know how to sidestep nothing.
I agree.
He will just hold on to the ball or make a dumb throw, which is exactly what he did. So that ain't, I know that some of it, and I get it. I understand what you're saying. I don't agree with it because listen,
it's just more. It just
if
more
I can play, I can play, and I just figure out the way to get it done because that's what needs to happen. So I need this dude to figure that crap out. He played like hot dumpster juice today.
He did.
He looked like
he did, but he's been playing with no confidence really since last year. Even when the games this year where he's looked decent, he's still not playing. He's still not playing with confidence.
But you can't pick and choose the games that you're gonna show up and play like you got some confidence.
No,
he did. He played like he had confidence versus
we actually for the
first half,
really,
really good in that game.
In the first half, in the second half, you kind of shaky again.
Well, but still,
that's where the inconsistency comes.
Even if you give me, he didn't play one half good here. So what I'm saying is, keep the edge. The problem that Baker Mayfield has, and I'll tell you, one of the things is he's got a plethora of issues. One of the biggest issues that he has, he can't read defenses, and he does not have an idea what's happening pre-snap. I swear this dude don't play no damn Madden.
Yeah, man. I think we're on the same page. He's just not playing well, but I think it's a multitude of reasons why. Now, here's the thing, though. Now, going forward, the coaching staff has to figure out what is it that's not clicking, and what do we have to do to get this guy back comfortable again. And then, two, man, it could be a case where, and then not just talking about Baker, just the Browns period for this game. You're going to have games in the NFL where you just get thumped. Pittsburgh came in with way more intensity than we did this game, man. And
I'm not taking that away from them. I'm not taking that away from their coaching staff. I agree with you. There are going to be games, no matter how well prepared you are, where you drop the ball and you end up, taking those L's. However, what I saw today here's what happened. Mike Tyson says it best all the time. Everybody got a plan until they get punched in the mouth.
Yeah, we got punched in the mouth.
In the mouth. So guess what? The only plus side to this game, there's only one plus side to this game to me. We get to play these dudes again. So now you get to see, did you learn anything? Did you figure something out?
We'll see that next week. Like, how do you come, like, losing like this sometimes? Like, I try not to overreact, especially in a position where we are at this point in the season. Like, if you would have asked us before the season started, after 6 games, if the Browns were 4-2, how would you feel? And we would all, the whole city would say that we'd be absolutely ecstatic to be 4-2.
again, listen, man. You keep trying to find caveats to get these. I'm not doing that.
I'm
I'm
not
not
giving
about
them
to
a
do.
pass, but I'm
I'm
not
not
gonna
doing that.
overreact and think that everything's
I'm
coming
not
to an end
overreacting
either.
either. I'm actually
You know,
just like I told you last week about them damn interceptions he threw. You try to say, oh, well, I think it was because everybody throws interceptions. They do, but everybody doesn't throw stupid interceptions. Those interceptions are stupid. And he threw two more stupid,
yes, he
unnecessary
did,
interceptions
and he
today.
did.
And it's the
All right,
same thing with this
and
team. This
and,
team,
and let's see what they how do
don't
you
care what
bounce
they
back?
look, I don't care what they do against the Bengals. The Bengals are in
Yes,
last
you do.
place. I
It
don't.
doesn't that doesn't matter. You still have to
Listen,
go
and
out
here's
there and
why I don't
perform.
care.
Now,
Here's why I don't care. Here's why I don't care. The Bengals are in last place. And if you're
okay,
going to win this division, you're going to have to win this division through the Steelers
yes, you
or
do.
through the Ravens. Now,
Okay,
I don't always care that we don't win. I care how we play. I care how we look. And we play those two teams, and we look like we did not belong on the freaking field with them. That's a problem. All
it
the way
is a
across,
problem,
and it takes the defense out of it. And the defense didn't play awful today
right?
until and accept those certain plays and stuff.
And
Or
this is what
outside,
and
the
this
safety play was
and this is
trash.
what happens when you have a franchise and an organization that has had no stability for 20 years. You're going to have growing pains like this. So now it's all right. So the Browns are 4-1 going in. Everybody's ecstatic. Everybody's whoop-de-doo. Browns are back. And then you were saying how pessimistic I was going into this game. And for the simple fact, because I just didn't think from what I saw last week, with the pressure that Indianapolis was getting on us, I didn't think that we were ready because Pittsburgh has better athletes than Indianapolis on defense. Coming from the edge with Dupree, coming with Tuitt, uh, Watt, all those guys. I said, okay, we're not. We made if we couldn't handle Indianapolis's rush, and we got these injuries that are happening right now. No Chubb, who now we're starting to realize is way more valuable than we gave him credit for. We're starting to see it probably just as his presence there. I think his presence just makes the offense more comfortable. And this is what happens. So Mike Tomlin always preaches divisional games. I don't care who we're playing, last place team, first place team, we're treating divisional games all the same.
As you
And
should.
as you should. And we haven't learned that yet. Stefanski hasn't, being a first-year coach, doesn't understand the
I
AFC
don't
North
buy that
yet.
first year coach crap because he's coached football. He's been a
If
part
he
of
has
it.
not been a head coach, there's always a
It
difference
don't
when
listen, man.
the
Well,
only
he
difference
maybe,
when
you
you're
know
being the
what?
man.
I'm glad you said that. If I ever own a freaking organization, the first thing I'm gonna ask you is, how do you view divisional games or
Right.
conference games? Because if you tell me, oh, I think they're regular games, get your ass out of here. You can't be my coach.
Well, and that's why I said next week is important. Because you can always learn. Matter of fact, you have to learn
But
from your
for what? He
mistakes.
thinks he thinks it's a regular game too. He just wants to go 1-0 this week too. That's why he got
Maybe
his ass
not.
out
We
coached.
we don't we don't know that yet. Next week hasn't gotten here.
Listen, bro.
You know what I'm
You
saying? Like
can't.
if we go out,
You listen. You're not gonna
if we
tell
go,
me, and I'm not gonna accept this. I'm not gonna
look,
accept this. You're not gonna tell me that a week ago this dude says, "Oh, it's just another game. We just want to go 1-0," and think that philosophy has changed this week. I doubt it.
I don't know the man personally. He may change. He may learn. Sometimes it
Listen,
don't take much
the
for
Browns.
you to understand
Listen,
what's going on.
Coach
Because if you
Stefanski,
don't
and
learn from something like that, then there's something wrong. Then we
I
don't have the
agree.
right coach.
Listen. I absolutely agree, and I think that they'll figure it out over the week. But that don't mean that philosophy part will change. That's
Well,
I remember what I said when you introduced that theory, or not the theory, but when you introduced that's what he said, that ideology that he had in that
mm,
interview. I instantly got irritated, and I have not been unirritated since
I
because
see.
I just don't. I have not been I know unirritated ain't a word, but I'm gonna use it. I have not become unirritated.
It's all right,
because
Jesse Jackson. You can
that's
make
the
up
kind of
words from
stuff.
time to
That's
time.
the kind of stuff that is nonsense to me, and you will never win, and you'll never go to the playoffs. Now he may give us some level of stability, but you know that just means we got Marvin Lewis, an 8-8,
Right.
possibly a first round playoff, possibly maybe not, but nothing to show for it at the end of the day. Just 10 years of nonsense.
Well, you know what? Now, to be fair, we ought to be fair and objective, like Fox News. Um,
This ain't listen. This ain't Fox. I don't give a damn. When I'm mad, I'm mad.
we had to be fair and objective. Let's see. And so we play the Bengals next week, and then we got the damn Raiders coming in town after that. Let's see. Sometimes the true character of your team shows when you have adversity. Now, are they gonna go and fold and go into Cincinnati all depressed? It's okay, we got blown out. Are you gonna go in there half-assed, or are you gonna rebound, go handle business the next 2 weeks, and now you right back on track?
I don't want to hear. I don't judge it. Listen. First of all, you do have to bounce back because you do have a game next week. So you're right.
You got to.
Um,
Matter of
and if
fact,
they
as
don't,
of right now, they can't be dwelling on this game right now. You watch the film tomorrow,
oh
and then
no,
that's
oh
it.
no, oh no. If you are a coach, you do not allow Baker Mayfield to forget the dumb shit he did today.
Yes, you
You got
do.
to.
You have
No,
to.
you don't. You don't. No, you don't. Hey man, we can't see that no
Because
more.
you have to correct it, but you
So we
don't
can't. So
dwell on
how
it,
do
but
you
you
correct it
correct
by
it.
saying forget about it? No, you say, hey man, we can't
No,
see
you
what
have
he's saying
to,
no more.
like you can't be,
No,
you can't
man.
sit there because here's the thing. The thing that you don't want to do is what he's doing now, is when you're playing scared to make a mistake. You got to
But
tell
listen,
him, look, man, the
okay,
dude
then
is
you know what
open.
that means?
Trust your
You know what that
instincts and
means?
let the ball go.
That means you ain't our guy then. You need to
Let the
get your
ball
ass out
go.
of here. That I'm glad you said it, because that means that he might not be the guy. If
He
his
may not be.
concern is just, oh, I can't make a mistake, and you're scared of making a mistake, listen,
That was my point earlier. That's what he's playing like.
bro, but
Playing
that
scared.
don't have nothing to do with them. Listen, if you don't know how to make a mistake and rebound from it, in any sport, you've played sports, you've been in competitive leagues before. We all know you got to make a mistake, and then you got to figure out a way to get beyond that, because you don't always have your stuff
Exactly.
that day, right?
Exactly. That's my
Okay,
whole point.
so listen, I miss me with this old sensitive ass quarterback psyche bull crap. That dude, he don't look sensitive on none of those commercials. He looked
They
like,
ain't thinking about him being sensitive.
listen, he
Just saying
must be. If his
he's
only
playing like
concern
he's
is, oh,
scared to make
I
a
don't
mistake.
feel comfortable, and I'm not. I don't want to hear it. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of hearing how, oh, we got to give him time. He had 4. I don't want to hear that crap no more. Can you throw a football? Okay, good.
You
Can you
don't
throw
have, but the
a
thing
football to
is,
that guy?
right
Okay, good.
now,
Can you throw a
we don't
football to
have
that guy? Okay, good. Then
right
throw the
now.
ball to these guys.
Look, right now we don't have it. We don't have a choice but to give him time.
Look, I don't have to give him nothing.
It's no, you don't have a choice.
I don't have to give him nothing.
You
I'm
don't have
being
a
as
choice.
honest as I could possibly be. He's going to be the quarterback, but that don't mean I got to give him nothing.
That's what I'm saying. I mean,
You
it is what
stink,
it is.
and you stink right now, and you stink because you stink, not because everybody. A lot of those sacks were because of him. Those 2 picks were because of you. And to act like it didn't happen, or to act like, oh, it's okay, we'll go into next week and we'll see what happens. That's why you're going to continue to stink. That's nonsense, man. You got to tell that kid.
For
Stop.
one thing, you miscategorizing what I'm saying. I did not say it's
No,
okay.
listen. I'm just talking in general right now. I've just
got
had it. I've had it. You should have never told me that dumb nonsense about this dumb coach saying that dumb shit. That was dumb.
All right, America.
Feels like to me, everything that he says and everything that he does has that same dumb ideology. Stop.
Okay,
So
for
I think we in
anybody
the
that's
playoffs.
watching us,
You will never go.
look,
We
for
ain't never gonna
anybody
win.
that's watching this outside of the Cleveland area, you're now witnessing the bipolar disorder that we have.
It only takes
Cleveland
it's
Browns
that
fans.
quick. Look, it's that quick too.
Last week and the week before, the whole city was on cloud nine. Everybody was happy,
Listen,
celebrating after the game.
here's what I want you
Bad
to do.
loss to Pittsburgh, and everybody's
Here's
ready
what I
to
want
come
you
off
to do.
breaking
Because
bread.
you know what else? Because you know what else? You're right. Part of that is some of us were actually pretty happy. I was just happy that we were looking like a football team.
Right.
However, my partner was being pessimistic. But now he's Mr. Psychologist over there, ready to pat everybody down on the couch and
Yes.
give them crackers and cookies.
I'm talking everyone off the ledge right now.
And no, and listen, I wasn't on the ledge. I wasn't even on a floor higher than where I'm at right now until you told me that nonsense. Because that is an ideology, dog. That's nothing that you just lose. I remember some years ago, I can't remember the player, but the dude came in and they was like, yeah, we playing against I think it was the Steelers again.
Mm-hmm.
And we've lost so many games to the Steelers, blah, 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 such. This guy's first year here. He was like, oh, well, I ain't been here for none of that, so that don't include me. We losing. That's a loser mentality.
Who said that? That was I can't remember who said that. But
you got it. Don't tell me that. That's nonsense. You have to embrace some of that at times. Like the one thing I know, I
you're absolutely right.
I talk a lot about LeBron and things of that nature. And I don't know that LeBron ever fully embraced certain things. But one of the things that he embraced actually was trying to win a championship for a city that had never had one. He embraced it. He just took it in and was like, all right, bet. This will be one of the greatest accomplishments ever, won't it? Yes, it will, sir. Absolutely, it will. So you can't act like those times didn't occur. So you can't act like those 17, 16 prior years didn't exist. This is not another year.
I'm going to explain to you why I'm taking the attitude that I am right now.
Go ahead. Why? Because you're pissing me off.
I know. And I'm enjoying every minute of it too. I'm thoroughly enjoying it. This is why I've taken this attitude. I've been in an abusive relationship with this team for 41 years. And I can't take it anymore. Around 2000, after the 2014 season, that was the whole Brian Hoyer, Johnny Manziel, Ray Farmer texting the coach on the sidelines to put Johnny Manziel in, that whole debacle of a season. We actually started off pretty well. We were in first place at one point in time. They put in Johnny.
Don't we remember?
And the season went to hell. After that, I made a conscious decision that I am not getting emotionally involved with my football team that I love, that I will root for, die-heartedly. I just made up a word. That I'm gonna be passionate and root for my team.
Now that makes two words we've made up tonight.
Right. Exactly. But I said I would not get emotionally invested until they looked like that they were going to take this thing serious and become playoff contenders. So we stabilize the organization, right? Even the 0-16 season did not bother me that much. Because I was numb. Week 3.
I was detached. I was
numb. Right. So here comes 2019. We get OBJ. Baker's coming off his rookie year. Everything is looking good. We got Freddie Kitchens as the head coach, who we thought was the leader of the offense the year before. Turns out he wasn't. And that was one of the biggest letdowns.
Freddie Kitchens.
Right. That was one of my biggest letdowns as a Browns fan. So now I'm back to the attitude of I'm not going to get too high with the highs, and I'm not going to get too lows with the lows for right now. I said for right now. That may change. So when going into this game, I already had a feeling we were going to lose. I said I'm not going to get all hyped up and get all pumped up Sunday morning, running around the house. Can't wait for the game. I said, no, I'm going to just kind of ease into it. And after that first pick six, I said, that's game over. And I detached myself from the rest of that game emotionally.
Look, what did I just tell you got me frustrated? It wasn't the game. The
crazy
part is it wasn't the game. Because I was at the game. I watched, like I said, I went to the little tailgate. I had a couple drinks. Now, I'll be honest with you. There was a point in it that, I mean, only the Browns can get me to the point where, normally you want to drink when you're a little bit frustrated. They got me to the point where I ain't even want to drink. I was like, no, I'm good. All right, I'll have a water.
So you're not wasting good liquor on them.
Yeah,
Huh?
why the hell am I going to waste good beer on these dudes for what? They look like trash today. So I came home. I was home by 3 o'clock. Like in the house,
Okay.
not on my way home. I was in the house, parked in my driveway inside my house by 3 o'clock. That's
I
how.
started to. I was
And
just
then
too
I
lazy to
just
get
came
up.
in the basement. I came in my basement and, in my lab, as I call it, I just came in the lab and just started doing work. Like I didn't even watch the rest of the game. I finally finished it, but I didn't watch the rest of the game right away. I didn't come in the house and I came down here, started doing my work, and just making sure that everything was done the way I needed it for the show. And as frustrated as I was, like I said, I was more disappointed. I wasn't like emotionally like, like my wife didn't even know the Browns lost. That's the difference. When I came in the house, she didn't even know the Browns lost. She thought they might have won because she was like, well, you're not all upset or whatever like you normally are. I'm not. I got upset when I heard that dumb, because that right there is being permeated through all 56 of those guys and the coaching staff.
And I don't disagree with you with that.
That's absolute nonsense. You cannot do that, and that cannot be the idea that's running through your organization when you're now he might. Here's the caveat. Here's a caveat right here. He might formulate some level of consistency while he's here, because I think he's a solid coach, the coach that he is. And then we might get a solid, base about how we move, et cetera, et cetera. But we ain't never, ever, ever gonna win this division. We ain't never, ever, ever gonna. If we get to the playoffs, we ain't gonna win no playoff games because it's just another game. How do you get guys up when you keep them on the same plane? How do you talk them up?
Right.
You have to at some point say, like, it has to mean something at some point. Like being a manager of people, you have to talk these guys up at some point. You have to be able to say to these guys, yo, don't worry about that. That's okay today. But when you start getting towards those deadlines, hey man, that don't matter today. This does. It has to start to matter in those certain specifics if you want to be successful moving forward. And that's just not successful. Now that pissed me off, like in terms of going forward, because to me, if that's what this dude is pitching, man, the other team, if that's what you pitching, the other team's about to knock that shit out the park. The teams that are going to
I agree with you to that point 100%. I'm just giving him, a chance to see if he changes that philosophy.
He better,
because he does have to, but you can't go into that with a regular, with that attitude every game.
Right. I don't know if they flew or if they drove to Pittsburgh.
They took the bus.
So if they took the bus, this dude has 2 hours and 10 minutes, depending on how those buses roll, to figure his life out. And I mean that with all seriousness, because if you believe that every game is just a game and this is the only game we got to think about, y'all gonna suck at some point, and it's gonna be all bad. And he don't I'm sick of people coming in here not embracing the full-fledgedness that is Cleveland at times. Like, again, Cleveland isn't New York. Cleveland isn't LA. It isn't Miami. But when it comes to the Browns, there is no other scrutiny bigger in any city on the planet.
That's true. 100% correct. And here's the thing that I'm trying not to think about, but it may come to pass. I do not want to have to go out and draft another quarterback.
they're gonna have to draft another quarterback, or they're gonna have to sign him.
Right.
It's not to say it's not to say that what's his name, Keenum is. I don't think Case Keenum is awful. I'll be honest with you. If I could be totally honest today, seriously, they could have pulled Baker after that pick six. They could have pulled him. I said, ain't nothing finna come out of this dude. Ain't nothing good about to come out this guy. They could have pulled him right then and right there. And I know that sounds like I'm giving up on him more, but I've already had my issues with Baker. I don't have a lot of full-fledged faith in Baker Mayfield. I don't.
Right. Right now, I don't either. But I don't. I don't know if I have the patience to have to go through that again. I really don't. I'm seriously.
Yeah, I agree.
don't.
No, I'm laughing because I agree, but
I can't go through another coaching change right now. I can't do any of that. And then that's kind of jumping the gun. But that just crossed my mind. And I was like, man, because we all thought he was the guy. And I'm like, so if he's not the guy, now we got to go through this whole dog and pony show, and we're not going to be bad enough.
Yeah, to get a real good one. You're gonna have to be. You're gonna have to find that diamond in the rough.
Right. So, but we'll see. You know what I'm saying? That's a long way away, man. So, don't want to get too much off into that right now.
Yeah, we don't want to start. We don't want to start. Figuring into things that we don't. I mean, because honestly, if we're gonna do it, Sean pissed me off and threw me. Look, once again, sometimes you get punched in the mouth and it changes your whole plan. Sean threw me off with that statement, and it threw me off my entire trajectory, sent me somewhere in a whole nother kind of space. So at the end of this, we lost today, and we lost to a better team. But we're 4-2. So at least we're not 2-4. At least we're not 0-6. So we'll take that for now. We have some things that we can continue to build on. We have some things that we can continue to grow on. But one of the things that has to get different and that has to change and has to be different is that damn week to week. I get it, the week to week philosophy. But man, you gotta change that. You cannot be telling me that your only focus and your only concern is, it's a regular game type nonsense, especially when you get out coached. Like I tell you what, how is that your opinion when the other coach on the other side didn't take it that way? He didn't take it that way, so you still think that's the way to approach this?
Right.
Because he didn't take it that way. He didn't come in this game like this a week to week. He said, nah, this is a game in the AFC North, and I got to win this game. And that's the attitude that you have to try to win those games. So,
you know what? The next time the Browns win, because one thing I haven't tuned into is, normally the Browns website, they'll put up the post game speech, locker room speech, and I just want to see what his demeanor is. Matter of fact, I'm gonna watch it tonight. I want to see what his demeanor is after the loss, and then next week, I want to see what his demeanor is in the locker room after a win, because that will tell a lot about what his thought process is. Because one thing, because sometimes some coaches, especially coaches like him that are kind of quiet and laid back, sometimes they can be one way with the press and be another way, behind closed doors with their team.
That's true.
Yeah, so I'm definitely going to check out the post-game speech in the locker room just to see what he's saying to his team, and I want to see the players' reaction. Are they holding their heads down? Are they like, okay, let's bounce back from, let's get them, next time? I want to see what their demeanor is.
I think they dig the dude, like just on a personal level. I think they like him. But like today, for the first time in all year, I saw OBJ frustrated today.
And that's fine with me. I don't have a problem with that.
I'm not mad at it
because when you're frustrated like that, it means that you want to win. You want to win. The only time that I would have a problem like that, if he's getting to the point, was like, well, you know what, I'm not going in this play. Blah, you're not throwing me the ball, so I'm not going in and sulking and stuff like that. And that's one thing that I don't see from him. I see passion, but I don't see him.
I was gonna say, no, he was in the fourth quarter. He caught that one, like that 13-yard pass from Keenum. I caught him Keenan out of the way. It's Case Keenum.
Case Keenum. So
he played, and I saw another guy online that was saying like, "Yo, why OBJ on the sideline with his shoes off?" I said, "Man, because ain't no point in him going out there getting his ass hurt when we down 38-7. He shouldn't be out there at all at this point."
yeah, at some point you gotta put your starters out.
Yeah. Put that dude on the bench and let that dude sit down. Because it's only week 6 and we still got 10 more weeks. And
right. And hopefully we'll start getting some guys back next week too, especially in that secondary. Hopefully Joseph and Harrison and maybe Teller
had a concussion, so it's possible.
Well, they said he was close to being ready this week, and at the last minute they kind of said no. Right. So let's hope that some of these guys are will start coming back here, and then we'll go from there. At this point, I don't want to really.
One more update from that game, because I think we touched on everything. Excuse my page turning, but I think we touched on everything from the game. But I just wanted one update. I was just watching Fox, and Devin Bush, the Steelers linebacker who went out of the game, he tore his ACL.
Yeah, I saw that.
Speedy recovery to the homie. Yeah, I hate the Steelers, but these guys are regular guys. They got families.
Exactly.
They got folks to try to take care of. So I just hope that and he's actually just a great player. He's not somebody who you end up just hating. I hate him because he is so damn good for the Steelers.
Right.
But as a person, I just want to see the dude get well.
And anybody that has the audacity to wear the outfit that he wore on draft night is all right with me, because he came out looking like the lead singer of Shalimar. And if you have the balls to pull off that outfit,
listen, man, I forgot
okay
all
with
about
me.
that. I forgot all of. Don't ask me how I did, but I forgot all.
all he needed was a jerry curl, and his whole outfit would have been complete.
Came out there looking like Nikki Free.
Right.
Like, I'm like, man, what is that? So yeah, so as we're speaking, the Major League, we you see that segue? You see how smooth that was?
Right.
As we're speaking, the MLB playoffs are in the last game before the World Series. So last night, the Devil Rays, and I know I actually called them the Devil Rays on purpose. I've been doing that for the last couple of shows, because when they first came in the league, that's what they were. So that just goes right within my moniker. I call everything the old stuff.
And it had the worst hats by far. They had those minor league looking hats.
They had the big ass ray on the top.
And it said, what did it say? They said like TB with the.
It was a TB
with the double ray on it. It was horrible.
With a big manta ray on that joint.
Right. In that horrible stadium.
Well, I tell you what, they found their way to the World Series. Was that their first or second? I think it might be their
second. I think it's their second.
Yeah.
Great organization, man. They have
it's a really good organization
from top to bottom.
They always seem to be, I won't say in the playoffs, but they're always close.
Always close. And that's a hard division, man. That's a tough division.
To, being teams that, always compete. And, you can't ask for better than competition.
Because they probably have the lowest payroll in there with all those big market teams. The Yankees, Red Sox, Baltimore, they probably have the lowest payroll out of anybody. And I believe still manage to be competitive every year.
Like, I think they said it was something like they could have paid their players somewhere close to I think it was 8 times whatever all of them are being paid right now if they had the Yankees roster.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's cool to see these, because those teams always kind of squeak their way in. Oakland's, Kansas City a couple of years ago, then all of a sudden they, their payroll went up like crazy. But, you always find a way to St. Louis too, and then payroll kind of skyrocketed. But they were a middle market team. You know, Milwaukee was another middle market, and then all of a sudden their payrolls. The Indians and teams like the Devil Rays are teams that always keep like a very small, minute level of who we're going to pay and how we're going to pay. It's very, very, very small, but they found a way to get into the World Series after almost blowing this series. They were up 3-1,
Right. They're up
and
3-0.
3-0. I'm sorry, you're right.
They're up 3-0,
and
the cheating ass Astros
the
got it up
Astros
3-3.
With the Lizard King on the bench, Dusty, and he just found a way, you know, to to manage them into a game 7. And to be honest with you, I don't know if anybody watched the game, but I was watching the game, and it was 4-0 going into the 6th. Like, I'm like, man, they got 3 innings to figure this out. And Sean and I again discussed the nuances of playoff baseball if you guys don't understand it. So, when those late innings start to come, it's like crunch time, man. Like you start to feel like you got 3 innings, so that's 9 outs. You actually feel like you got about 2 outs.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, you just like the whole time, you're like, man, come on, we got to get this. We got to get this. And these guys ended up getting within 2 runs of the lead going into the 7th and then going into the 8th. So it was a game. Like, they made a game out of it, and it was tense. It got tense, but the Rays pulled it out. Houston made it a series when it looked like it wasn't about to be one at all. So it was really a good game to watch. I mean,
that's still a veteran ball club, man. Houston still got
I mean,
veterans.
listen, they won. So, they may have cheated, but they still did go deep in the playoffs a couple times. So they do understand how it's played, and they have a veteran manager who understands how the game is played. A guy who, Dusty Baker, again, I think we talked about it before. To me, he's underrated. He doesn't get the credit that he deserves. Dusty is an awesome coach. He actually should have won a World Series last year with Washington, because he got that team together too. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he's been right there. He deserves a lot of credit for what he does. Definitely. But as we're talking, as we're doing our show right this second, I'm actually watching the Fox broadcast as the Dodgers and the Braves get ready to go into this game tonight, another game 7. This is why I messed up the 3-1 thing with the Rays and Houston, because this series was actually 3-1. It looked like the Dodgers were pretty much out of it, and they've managed to make it, to a game 7. So they got some. I don't know this kid, so I'm just saying some kid. Dustin May is pitching. Okay. But they made sure to mention that they have some other guys that are available. So at least they're thinking. This is what I mean, Indians fans, when I say at some point you just got to say, hey, I don't care about the world. You can't worry about game 1 of the World Series when you in the AL or the NLCS.
Because you might not get there.
So you have to, take care of what you got to take care of. So they just listed off guys that are available. One of those guys that are possibly available tonight, Clayton Kershaw.
Yeah, he got ran out the other game the other night, didn't he? He got knocked out. It's his first usual in the playoffs.
Look, his pitch count was nowhere near what he wanted it to.
Right. Right. So Kershaw doing what Kershaw does in the playoffs. Look, one thing that
do you want to bring him in because of what he did, or do you want to, do you trust him enough to let him pitch? Like, if you were, what's his name? Brian, what's their coach? What's their manager's name?
Brian Roberts.
Yeah. So would you let him pitch if your guy got into some mess?
he's the last resort because he just pitched the other night. So he's not. If
He's
it
on.
becomes a
It's still
bullpen
3
game,
innings.
he's not number one. He's not going to be my first
No,
choice.
he wouldn't be your first guy.
But he's
So
available. Yeah, if it comes to a point where he has to pitch, then
listen,
yes.
his ass would be in that game. Even if it was just for a batter, I might put him in the game.
Right. It's one thing I wanted to point out real quick watching this pregame show. Big Papi may have the tightest suit that I've ever seen in my life. Like that middle button, that button is screaming for life. Right. It's barely holding on.
But Papi ain't no little dude. So for him to have them little, and he always has those little suits, man.
It's clean now.
No,
but
listen, what I didn't say was that he wasn't clean.
Yeah, he's clean, but that suit's a little young.
Yeah, them suits be tight. So I picked the Braves. I mean, excuse me, you picked the Braves.
I picked the Braves. You picked the Dodgers.
I picked the Dodgers to win this series. We both picked Tampa to win that other series. So tonight it comes down to these guys showing up. This is tough, man. And Dustin May is the second youngest Dodger to ever start a Game 7. Okay. He's only 23 years old.
And the Braves have Ian Anderson going, and he's only 22. Yeah, so you got two kids going tonight. So we see how this plays out. I got plenty of entertainment tonight. So I got this game. I have the Sunday night game with the Rams and Niners. And one of my favorite shows is on tonight, Lovecraft Country, which is the season finale tonight on HBO. So I got plenty to watch tonight.
Well, at least you got something to watch. I think I'm gonna watch this game, and then I might switch over to I don't know, football. You know, sometimes the Browns take that steam out of me.
No, I get it
when they lose, so I don't really want to watch too much football. If nothing else, my Xbox works, so I'll probably play some 2K20 or something like that.
Who's your squad on 2K20?
Huh?
Who's your squad on 2K20?
I actually play. I'm playing the create a career guide thingy.
Okay.
So I started with I created my player. My player started with the Spurs, and then he got drafted by the Spurs, and then the Lakers came with the most money. So I'm playing with the Lakers right now.
I actually tried that for the first time this year with 2K20. Made my own player. I got drafted by the Cavs, and we absolutely stink. We get ran off the court every night. It took me about a month to get into the starting lineup.
That's about how long it takes.
And
listen, I said that's about how long it takes too. It takes you a little bit of time to break into. I mean, like, I don't really play. I'm more of a Madden person than I am a 2K person. So, but I like the features on it. I really enjoy it. So the last one that I had was 2K18. And I had kind of got pretty good at it. But every year they change something so that you don't have all of the same controls or whatever.
Right.
So when I got the 2K20, it took me a minute to figure it out. But yeah, it took me a little while before I got into the starting lineup. It took me a little while before I was getting more tick, and then.
Dude, I didn't score the first 4 games of my career.
I don't know. I was averaging. Really does though.
I averaged no points, no rebounds, and 0.3 assists.
Well, I'm in my 3rd season now. I'm in my 2nd season with the Lakers. And
do you play the whole season, or did you simulate a lot of it?
No, I generally play every game because I got to get better.
So you play all 82? Is it an 82 game schedule?
Yeah, and I played the playoff game.
Okay.
But I have to get better so that I can play on the playground, right?
I got you.
Because if you can't play, that's where you really make all your
get your VC.
Any of the swag, any of the stuff that you really want. It's done on that playground or in the pro-ams. So you have to try to do some of those. I don't ever feel like I'm good enough to do any of that stuff. So I have to, get my practice up, and I usually do it by playing those season games. And like last year, I got most improved player in the league. I averaged a double-double. It was like 14 points and 10 assists a game. My player did. So, you go into the next year. Like I literally go into it like I am, like I'm legit, like, yo, I'm looking for my new contract.
Right.
It's crazy. It's crazy because when they bring you those contracts, you're like, what? Because in your mind, you're like, it's just a game. It's all good. I don't care what they give me. And then they present these numbers to you, like, man, do you know I just played? I just played 164 games, and this is what you're gonna give me. I played 164 games, myself. No,
Right.
man, you gotta pay my guy, dog.
Right.
But yeah, that's it's just some fun, especially since this pandemic has happened. I've had more time to just kind of decompress. That's usually my decompression is
Yeah.
just to kind of escape.
Same here. Now I've been playing. I got the PS3. No, sorry, not PS3, PS4. So I've been
Okay.
playing this game called The Witcher 3. It's an older game. It's been out since 2015, but it's
Now,
like
what's that? What does it consist of?
it's a role-playing adventure game.
Oh, okay.
One of those type of things that take that if you finish it from beginning to end and do everything, you're gonna put in about 300 to 400 hours of game time.
Yeah, I can dig it.
So I just kind of play that sparingly. There's no way in the world I'm gonna try to do everything on the game, but graphics are excellent, storyline is good. So like I said, it's just something to pass the time right now.
I can dig it. Well,
All right. What was next on the agenda?
Folks, let's talk a little boxing. Again, we like to be very, very versatile here on the show, or versatile, depending on your enunciation. We like to talk about everything, but sometimes, and even though we have UFC fights and some boxing matches that occur, some of them aren't always that huge to the point where we feel like it's necessary to speak upon it. However, last night was different. One of my favorite boxers, one of my favorite current boxers, should I say, Vasyl Lomachenko was in the squared circle last night, man. And listen, I love this dude, Vasyl. This is one of the few guys that I always felt like just respected his craft so much that he was always prepared. Always prepared. So I love Loma, and he was going against this young stud. I didn't know much about this guy before
Me either.
he agreed to make this fight with him. This kid's name is let me get it right. Teofimo Lopez. Remember that name. Or matter of fact, you don't have to. I think you're gonna remember it anyway. This kid, like when I saw him, when I actually laid eyes on him, like I went and looked at some of his tape, I was like, ooh, Loma better be all the way together, because this kid is bigger than Loma. He's a little faster than Loma, and it showed last night because this kid at 23, and that's why I keep calling him a kid. He's a grown man, but to me, he's a kid. He's half my age. He won 4 belts last night by defeating Vasyl Lomachenko in Vegas at the MGM Conference Center. It was actually it was on ESPN too. It was a free fight, which is rare.
And I love that boxing is doing that now. They're putting more of these fights on
I
free
love
TV with the Premier Boxing Championship. They show it on multiple Fox stations. ESPN has a contract with Top Rank. And you still get your pay-per-view events from time to time, but I think in order for them to grow the sport, it was very smart to start making some of these fights accessible and with big name fighters. Like back in the day with Wednesday nights and Friday night fights, they would have up and comers, but never really any big names. But now you're getting a Sean Porter fight on regular TV or a Thurman type fight. So I'm gonna have to be honest with you about the fight yesterday. I didn't even know that it was happening until the day of, like earlier. I saw somebody posted on Facebook. So I haven't really kept up with boxing too much since the pandemic happened. A little bit, they started to bring some, the Charlo brothers fought a couple of weeks ago, but I haven't really been, paying that much attention. So I see this kid Lopez. I said, well, I never heard of him. And anybody they put in front of Loma, he's pretty much dispatched quickly. Like it's not even close.
Like quickly.
So without even really doing any research, I picked Lomachenko. Now, this is where my old age kicks in. So the fight started maybe around like 11:15, maybe 11:30. Man, by the third round, I was out cold. When I woke up,
I knew exactly where you were going.
In all 4 belts. I said, I'll be damned.
It was, so I watched, and I knew the fight was happening. I forgot, but I'm on a text thread with one of my brothers, and he was talking to some of our fraternity brothers. Shout out to Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity Incorporated. What's up, bros? We were just chatting back and forth, and my brother brought it up. He said something about Loma, and I looked at the text. I'm like, Loma? Oh, that's right. The fight is on, because I was still watching the tail end of the Rays versus Houston.
Right.
So I said, I got to switch over, once this is over with, so I can get over there, because they were doing the undercard stuff at that time. So I, finished watching, and then I clicked over, and I'm gonna be honest with you, man. The young guy, I don't agree with the one judge's score that was like 10 points she gave to the young dude. I don't think it was or he gave to the young dude. It wasn't no 10 damn points.
Okay.
Hold on one second. I'm gonna interrupt that thought to let you know that the Braves are up 1-0 in the first. Top of the first. So the young kid what's his name? Dustin May is not looking good right this second. So we may see Gonsolin or Urias warming up real soon. And even possibly,
early, right.
And even possibly Kershaw. But yeah, so I'm watching the fight, man. My man got busy early. Like he was very busy. He was very something rare that I don't see that often with guys that fight Lomachenko. He was very aggressive. So being, you can be busy by just,
right.
That's just being busy. But being aggressive, like he was standing in the center of the ring, and he was taking everything that Lomachenko usually does away from him.
The 3 rounds I saw, that's the first thing that I noticed, that he was going in with no fear. And when you have a guy like Lomachenko, a lot of times fighters like that, they win before the fight even starts, just based off intimidation.
Because it's mental.
It's all mental. And you have to go in and show no fear. And that's what Lopez did, man. So the parts I saw, I was very impressed with the young man, and definitely somebody that I will be checking for in the future, because there's a lot of good fighters. I know they say boxing is dead, but there are a lot of excellent fighters out here. They just have to get past the politics and make the fights.
They got to find their avenue. That's it. Yep, you're right. I don't think that boxing is dead. I mean, coming from a guy that has spent a lot of time in Vegas, I see the influx of fans that come in when there's a boxing match that's happening. It's crazy. You'll be, because I've been there on a fight week, let's say a fight week per se. I might not even know that there's a fight, because they do the UFC, they do any level of high ranking, middleweight, heavyweight, lightweight. So I may not know who's fighting at all. However, you'll see this, you always get this influx of people on a Thursday, but then all of a sudden you'll see this huge influx of people on a Friday, Saturday. And it's nuts in the city. So I don't believe, and that was all the way up until I wasn't going to Vegas in February. just about. So I don't believe that boxing is dead per se. I think there's a lot of different, especially, I mean, I think what it is, you don't have Mayweathers, you don't have Tysons, you don't have Tarvers, you
Yeah,
don't
that's
have
what I'm saying. There's nobody
Joe
really to
Jones.
capture the casual fan. Like us
You know,
hardcore boxing fans, we're gonna
yeah.
be there regardless.
Listen,
But
because I've been a hardcore boxing fan my whole life,
yeah,
and me and my brother Donnie, we say this all the time. We just Donnie will say this to you in a heartbeat because he introduced me to Mike Tyson on USA Fights.
yeah, I remember that.
He introduced me to the dude. He said, "Man, I saw a dude the other day. If he come back on, bro, you gotta watch it." This was like in 85, 86. He said, "Man, if this dude come on, man, you gotta watch it. He is his name Mike Tyson." I'm like, "Oh, word? Okay." And literally, it was Mike Tyson. It was Mike. And this was, if people don't understand this either, though, Sean, they don't understand the levels of access that we have now. Like I'm literally sitting here recording this with a computer here, watching a game. None of this stuff would have been capable in '85. We didn't have this kind of access. And I can also scroll past the game and look up any information I wanted to right now.
Right.
It wasn't that way back then. So when you found these nuggets, they came slow. They came, kind of, wherever they came, but you had to be ready to accept those nuggets.
And then
Mike
you
Tyson,
had to read about it, man. You had to go get Ring
you
Magazine
had to listen, and
and
the
stuff
the
like that to
paper,
get information.
the paper and the radio. Guys like me, guys like Sean would not have existed in '85 because they wouldn't have allowed us in their circle because they don't know us and we're nobodies basically. But we have a medium now because of the technology. So,
Right.
back then, seeing Mike Tyson on USA Thursday Night Fights, it's Mike Tyson. Could you imagine Mike Tyson fighting for free on USA?
Yeah, and you had ABC Wild Water Sports with
I watched. I
Howard
watched
Cosell, so we got to
Muhammad
see
Ali. I
Muhammad
didn't even
Ali.
know
Yeah,
when I was a kid.
Barry
I didn't even
Holmes.
know Muhammad Ali really wasn't fighting when I was that age. I didn't realize he was old because they show all his fights
Right.
on Wild World of Sports.
Exactly. Right. Yeah.
That's why Sugar Ray is one of my favorite fighters. I watched a lot of Sugar Ray fights on Wild World of Sports. And when you see that on a Saturday, every Saturday after after Superhost, you become fixed
Yeah.
on those things.
And the
You know,
crazy part is, though, once Mike Tyson took off, that pretty much almost eliminated the, getting good free fights on TV.
you
After
ain't lying.
everything was on pay-per-view or HBO. At that point in time, you didn't get anything on like ABC or NBC.
The
Now you
money that
still
they
got the
made,
fights on ESPN, but they were always up and coming fighters. You rarely
it
got
was never those superstars
you
like we
never got
saw
a
last
superstar
night on
fight on
ESPN
ESPN.
with Vasily.
Exactly.
You would have
Right.
never seen a Vasily on ESPN back in the day.
Right. And
Mike
then,
that what was that? The Mike Spinks uh Mike Tyson fight. Not Michael. Yeah, Michael Spinks, Mike
here's Michael
Tyson fight.
Spinks.
That was like one of the biggest pay-per-view payouts in history at that time. Like they made a crap ton of money on that. And like you said, once they saw the levels of money, I don't have to just take the door.
Yeah.
I don't just have to take the door. I can take these points off this viewership too. Oh, okay. And that changed the game. Mike
And it
Tyson
kind
did.
of and it kind of messed up the sport because after a while,
Yeah.
Mike Tyson's fights were ending so quickly, people weren't really paying for the pay-per-views anymore. But then you move into the whole Lennox Lewis era.
Boring.
who were like Floyd Mayweather era, and then people got disenchanted with Floyd because Floyd was just better than everybody else. So people thought his fights were boring. Yeah,
his fights were boring, and so were Lewis's fights. Lewis's fights were boring. I don't care who he was fighting. That shit was boring. Only time he had an exciting fight, it was when he was fighting Mike Tyson, because you just wanted to see Mike like kick him or something. Like, you know what I mean? You were expecting something else. It wasn't because Lennox wasn't exciting to me at all.
He wasn't. There was nothing exciting. There's still
nothing exciting about it. He was a boxing
great fighter,
a boxing pugilist.
A great fighter.
Yeah, whatever.
He was a great fighter, man. You can't take that away.
I'm not.
Lennox Lewis is a great fighter.
Lennox Lewis was decent. I'll give him that. He came around when everybody else was old as hell, and he won a lot of fights against nobodies, except for that fight he fought against what's the Russian kid's name?
Klitschko.
Yeah, but he ain't. Look, after that fight, he was like, "Yeah, I don't need to do this no more."
Man, I'm gonna give Lennox his props, man. Lennox was a solid fighter.
Yeah. Okay, I'll give you
discussion.
I'll give you solid.
Okay,
no, I'll give you solid. He was a solid fighter. I'm not gonna stand here and tell. Listen, Donnie loves that guy. I can't stand him.
No, the love is a little bit too strong for me. I don't love Lennox Lewis, but I respected him.
I don't know that I disrespect him, but I wouldn't put my stretch out on a respect level. I mean, not to say, and I don't even mean that in the way it sounds like, oh, he don't have no respect for him. It's not that. I'm not buying into this that he's some great fighter. I just don't. I'm sorry. I just don't.
Well, one of these days we'll have to go and dig. We have to dig into the archives, look at the records, look at his fight history, that we kind of.
I'm looking at no records. I want to see who he fought. Like, I
that's
need
what
to
I'm
see.
saying.
And when
go back and look and see.
You were around when Mike and them were beating the hell out of each other on Mike and Holyfield, and these guys were beating the hell out of Foreman and Moorer and these guys. Where the hell were you at, bro?
Some people will say that Mike Tyson didn't have any competition.
Well, you know what? Some people would, but if you go back and look at those particular times when he was fighting whoever he was fighting, except for when he got out of jail, before he got out of jail, he was fighting whoever was the number one contender.
That's true.
He fought whoever they said was the number one contender in each one of those.
Right.
So that's not necessarily his fault, because that guy might have been a bum. But he was trying to take that dude's title, and once he got all the titles, he took everybody else.
He was just better than everybody else at that time, and he had a style that nobody's ever seen before, and nobody's ever seen that style since.
And he still does. And I don't know what the hell is wrong with Roy Jones, but he need to rethink this fight.
Are you going to pay to see that fight?
I don't know that I'm going to pay to watch it on my television, but I may pay to go somewhere to see it if that's
I'm not even being bothered with that fight at all.
Man,
I already know where that fight's going.
I'm a Mike Tyson fan. I love Mike Tyson. He's my favorite fighter. He's my Muhammad Ali. That's who I grew up watching in terms of heavyweights. My favorite fighter of all time is Sugar Ray Leonard, but Mike is my favorite heavyweight of all time. He's the guy that I watched decapitate some folks, man. I saw this dude punch a guy, and I swear I saw his soul come out.
Literally, like literally decapitate somebody.
Man, like this dude is incredible. But trust me, I understand I'm watching a 53-year-old guy. I understand that Roy Jones I think he's 51.
Close to it. Yeah.
I know I'm watching too, because look, I'm 46. Trust me, I know I'm looking at two old dudes.
Yeah, I don't want to see those two old men out there running around in the ring, man.
That's their fault.
That's one thing that I don't fall for the okie doke with boxing anymore and like these gimmicky fights. I didn't pay to see McGregor and
No,
Mayweather.
I
I was
wouldn't have
like,
paid to see that.
I didn't even
I
go
didn't pay to
I
see
didn't even go up to watch it. Like, I'm not watching this
Nope.
crap.
I know. I didn't want to see
Now,
that. There was no
I
reason.
watched it like 2 weeks later on YouTube for free. I checked it out.
I would have watched it if they would have done an MMA though. I would have
Yeah,
paid for it if it was MMA. But
baby, I'm
for
not
him
an
to go
MMA
into
fan. I can't get into UFC at all.
I'm not a huge MMA fan, but I will watch it, and I respect it because it's actually a decent. I didn't like it at first. It grew on me as I
Okay.
got a little bit
I've tried, man. I've
older,
tried.
and then of course going to Vegas, being in Vegas a lot,
Right.
you end up watching a lot of it, or you see a lot of people gambling on it, blah blah blah. So you
I
just kind
just
of get.
can't get into it, man. I've tried. My homeboys have invited me over. It's like, man, I'm gonna get you in the UFC. You got to watch this, and it's crickets, man. It's boring. I could never get into it.
I don't
I
think it's
respect.
boring. I just think I think it's some. Yeah, I think it's some stuff that I don't know that I want to get hit with nobody's elbow.
Not at all. Like, I respect what they do. Anybody that's willing to put their life on the line and get into the
Yeah,
ring or on the field of play or anything like that, I always give them respect. And I also admire the training that goes into it and the
yeah,
tenacity,
it's a lot. It's a lot.
threshold, all of
Like,
that, man. It's crazy. But so America, we will be discussing boxing from time to time. You get when we have big fights. The next
especially
big
on those,
fight,
yeah, especially on them big fights.
yeah, the next big one that's coming up, I believe, is Eric Spence and Danny Swift Garcia. That's
Yeah,
not until December. Bud Crawford is fighting in November, but he's not fighting. Bud Crawford, for whatever reason, can't get a big fight to save his life. I don't know if there's politics involved or if nobody wants to fight him, but he should have had a big name fight.
it's a little bit of both. I think he might need to fight one of those next tier guys, and maybe that'll help him. Like if he got to have an impressive fight against maybe somebody who everybody else sees as impressive. You know how boxing is always politics.
Yep.
Um,
Always has been, always will be.
Yeah, that ain't changing at all. So
no.
He probably needs to see something like somebody like that. But as we go forward, we'll be talking about even though Sean doesn't like it, a little bit of UFC stuff.
Like if it's a big fight coming up, I'll try to make a point to watch it, and so we can discuss.
Yeah, we try to talk about a little bit of everything to keep everybody at least remotely involved. And we're gonna go ahead and close out this particular episode. I just again want to reiterate that when you're an angry, jaded, frustrated Browns fan, you get angry, jaded, and frustrated. The one thing
it's gonna be all right.
Is for certain, if two things ain't for sure. I've been a Browns fan my whole life. It ain't about to change today, but the hope and the faith is that the team will continue to try to get better mentally, philosophically, as well as physically, because they're gonna have to figure something out to deal with these bullies that are Pittsburgh and that are the Ravens. They're not on the same field with those guys. Those guys they're gonna hit you, they're gonna punch you, they're gonna scratch you, and until we get nasty and get. Somebody said the Browns need to hit the weight room. No, they don't, because the weight room that these guys need ain't a weight room. You got to fix this.
Yeah, the heart.
You got to fix
your courage. Hey, man, is there any way that we can either get Baker Mayfield baptized by next week, have an exorcism, a seance, take him to see a witch doctor? No, matter of fact, a hypnotist, something. Because look, Baker, I'm talking to you now, Baker.
We need to get him. We need to get him to see Sidney Poitier's character from
right. Let's do it again. Right.
So
Lee Farnsworth. Right. Look, Baker, I'm talking to you right now. I need you to be my quarterback. And you know what? Because I can't take it anymore. I can't take going into the off season.
You're looking for
looking for another doggone quarterback, and everybody in the city debating and arguing about who we're supposed to draft. I just can't. I can't do it.
And then I have to talk about it every day. on my show. I don't want to
Right.
do that. I don't want to talk to Sean because then you already heard Sean say he don't want to talk about it. So you know what that means? I'm gonna talk to the grumpiest dude twice a
Exactly.
week for forever until
Exactly.
it's resolved, and he's still gonna be grumpy once it's resolved until we've hit the spot where we all understand this is our
Right.
guy. Blah
So
blah blah.
Baker, whatever you need to do to get your confidence back and play better. I don't know. You need some sweet potato pie, something. I don't care. I need you to get this together
Getting him some
immediately.
red velvet cookies, dog.
So yeah, I'll bake you a dozen batch of cookies, chocolate chip
Man,
cookies.
like
You
bro,
know,
we need you to figure this shit out, man.
need you to
Like
figure
it
this
is
out.
not.
Like
It's
and we'll talk about this on our Wednesday show, our midweek show about our preview. But just from my thinking right now, I need you to have a big game. Screw the running game and all of that. I need to see you perform at a high level for the not just for a half or just for a quarter, for the whole game, man. But I'm gonna leave it at that because I don't want to get, we'll get off on a tangent, then we'll have a 3-hour show.
what no that
That's
look
what we don't want
we
to do. So
we'll have at least a 3-hour show. So yeah, thank you guys for tuning in. We do want to try to wrap this up. Um, again, thank you for listening. For those of you who listen, where you can find us on Spotify, two guys, TWO and a mic on Spotify, and a mic 216. I'm sorry, on Spotify. We're also on Anchor. Again, two guys and a mic 216. We're on YouTube. You can come check us out where you can physically look at our show as we record it. Again, two guys, TWO and a mic 216. Come check us out. Come subscribe. Make sure you subscribe when you come in, like something, holler at us. You can hit us up on email. Again, tell us whether you like the show. Tell us whether the show sucks. Tell us whether the show doesn't suck. Tell us if it's the best thing you've ever heard. Tell us that it might be the worst thing you've ever heard. The best part of the whole thing is whether we hear you or whether we don't hear you, we know that y'all hear us. And that's important to us. We want to get viewership. We want to get listenership up. And we do care about what you guys say to a certain extent. To a certain, we're not, we come across as jerks, but we're jerky to each other because we've known each other for forever. I ain't going nowhere. Sean ain't going nowhere. So I can
exactly.
be a jerk to him or he can be a jerk to me. And we're still going to be in the same space. Come Wednesday, we're going to be in the same space.
Same bad time, same bad
Yeah,
channel.
it ain't going to change. We've been doing this for too long. But you guys are new to this. So we're welcoming you into our area, into our space, which is why we kind of say, yeah, it's only going to change to a certain extent. Because we've been doing this for over 30 years. But we do appreciate you guys. We do appreciate all the love that we're getting, all the viewership that we're getting on some of our prior shows, all of the listening that you guys are doing on our on our podcast, the audio podcast, should I say. So we greatly appreciate you guys. We look forward to you guys on Wednesday for our midweek show because we will have a Wednesday midweek show. And as we're talking, the Braves just went up 2-0. And I believe this is the third inning as we speak. So
the top of the second.
That's looking and they do have a new pitcher in there, and it didn't matter.
Yeah, they ain't wasting any time.
They ain't wasting no time.
They ain't wasting no time.
So, guys, we appreciate you. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being around. Thank you for joining us. It means the absolute world to us. Sean, love you, bro.
Love you too, and I hope everyone has a good start to their work week, starting tomorrow. And everybody, stay safe out there.
Peace, y'all.